Howdy folks, welcome back. I'm the Grouchy Old Patriot, and thank you for joining me for another little quick episode of Coffee with the Grouch. A few days ago, some buddies and I got to talking, and this topic came up. I thought it might be fun to throw it out there and get your opinions, get some comments going down below. Tell me how wrong I am, what your choices would be and why. Maybe get a little community conversation going back and forth and get some ideas out there. What I want to talk about today is if you only had one gun that you had to choose to do everything, it had to be your WROL, SHTF, end of the world as we know it, zombie apocalypse, put food on the table, protect the home, do everything. What would be your choice? What would be your choice and why? A lot of people out there pick an AR platform of some type or a Ruger 1022 because, boy, they can carry a lot of ammo and they can do this and that. And ammo's cheap. And there's valid points to be had there. But I'll tell you what my choice would be, and probably most of you, a lot of you won't agree with this. And if you don't, make a comment below. Let me know why you don't agree with it. Let me know why you think I'm a dumbass. But my choice would be any good quality pump action 20 gauge shotgun. You heard me, a 20 gauge. And I'll tell you why. I can hunt any North American game out there with a 20 gauge. Everything from squirrels and quail, pheasant, ducks, geese, deer, hogs, black bear, elk. I wouldn't want to hunt elk with it. I wouldn't want to hunt black bear with it, but I could. You could legally take, well, you could take any game you needed to take to feed your family. Now, it's a hot one here in Oklahoma today, folks, and pretty humid. So there, I could provide for my family with a 20 gauge. Home defense, well, most 20 gauges, not all of them, but most of them, you can get interchangeable barrels. You can go from a 22-inch hunting barrel to a 18.5-inch home defense / battle barrel. 20 gauge is a lot lighter and a lot handier to use in close quarters. Loaded with number 3 or number 4 buckshot. You don't have the danger of over-penetration of your intended target, going through walls or injuring family or innocent bystanders on the other side of a wall or wherever. And with a 7/8 ounce slug in that, I can still reach out and touch what needs to be touched. 7/8 ounce slug moving at 1,500 feet per second may not go through body armor, but it'll damn sure break a rib or two, make a bad guy go oof, and if not take him out of the fight, it'll damn sure take the fight out of him. If I have to hump that gun long distances over days on end, in a bug out situation or whatever, that 20 gauge is going to be lighter, ammunition is going to be lighter. For the same number of rounds as a 12 gauge, I've got less weight. And for the same weight, I've got more ammo. Works both ways. Paul Harrell, another YouTuber, has a couple of videos about the 20 gauge and comparing it to a 12 gauge and its advantages and disadvantages and capabilities. And I suggest you go watch his videos. They're pretty damn informative, and I'm not going to rehash on this channel everything that he's done. But in an SHTF situation, if I have to reload my ammo, I'm not going to be able to run to Walmart or Academy or Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, and buy components. I'm going to have to deal with whatever I've got on hand. And for a finite supply of components, I can reload more 20 gauge than I can 12 gauge. Well, you say, I'll just load my 12 gauge shells lighter and I can get as many rounds as you can. Yeah, that's possible. But if you're loading them lighter just to extend your components, why not just use 20 gauge anyway? That 20 gauge being smaller and lighter leads itself to use by smaller statured students, smaller statured persons. And as you can tell, I don't have that problem. But I can hand that 20 gauge, it usually has lighter recoil. I can hand that 20 gauge to my daughter or daughter-in-law or granddaughter, son's girlfriend, a younger, smaller boy who's properly trained, by the way. And they're not going to be as intimidated by it as they would a 12 gauge or full-size rifle. It'll be easier for them to handle, easier for them to get the job done, whatever that job may be. I've got a break action 20 gauge, a little single shot. Got a shell scabbard mounted on the side of it. I've got it loaded with 4 rounds of number 3 buck and 1 slug. That's my "the neighbor needs a gun" gun. Being a single shot, I can show him, if he's unfamiliar, I can show him in just a few minutes on how to load it, unload it, how to use it, how to make it safe. I'm not going to be worried that he's going to be excited and just keep pulling the trigger, because he pulls the trigger once, it's going to go bang, but it ain't going to keep going bang unless he does something to make it keep going bang. And it's inexpensive enough that I'm not giving up one of my better tools and worrying about whether I can get it back or what may happen to it. And I'm fairly convinced that he'll be capable of putting food on his table and protecting his family without being underprepared. Those are just a few of my reasons on why I think the 20 gauge would be the best all around if I could only have one gun. Is it the best gun for every situation? Well, hell no. If I'm going to go deer hunting, I'd rather have a good old lever action 30-30. If I'm going to go squirrel hunting, I'd rather have a 22. If I'm going to go duck hunting, I'd rather have a good 12 gauge. But the 22, I wouldn't want to go duck hunting with it. I wouldn't want to go squirrel hunting with a 30-30. Hell, there wouldn't be anything left of them after I got done. So yeah, there are better tools out there for each individual job, but I've yet to find a tool that can accomplish each job that needs to be done as well as a 20 gauge. Just for an all-around gun, I think it's a pretty good choice. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. I'm out of here. Got a little long-winded on the last video, and I wanted to cut this one a little short. So my Liberty's torch light your way, and Godspeed to all of you. Thank you for joining me.